Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Vira's Wellness Podcast. Today, we have Anurag Singal with us, who is associated with two different businesses. One is the first CA portal for chartered accountants in India, which is CA Job Portal, and he is also associated with BetaFin Partners, which is a host of financial services for corporates in India. He has mentored more than 10,000 people. He is a mentor to professionals, students, and entrepreneurs. And I mean, I cannot even imagine mentoring 10,000 people, but yes, Anurag has done that. So, welcome, Anurag, to our podcast today. And so humbled and happy to have you today with us.
So these are a mix. 10,000 is a mix of group as well as one-to-one. So one-to-one I would imagine would be like maybe 1,000 such sessions over the last so many years, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour kind of sessions. Some of these mentees would have been taking sessions over a period of 2 months where we discuss life in greater depth. And a lot of them are like on a group where you go and you mentor around careers, give them career clarity. So there've been people, for example, who've done MBA after CA because they attended those sessions and realized where the gap is in terms of branding and perception.
Bottom line is you have mentored 10,000 people. So I cannot even imagine and fathom that number yet.
So in a group setting, you will be able to. I mean, one-to-one, yes, for sure. It will be difficult in a lifetime to achieve that number.
Yes. And you're also a TEDx speaker. I forgot to mention that. How about that?
Yeah, been a couple of times
Yes,
at
a lot of
different places.
credentials to you, Anurag, and of course, you have a very good social media following. I have been following you on LinkedIn. I think that's where we're connected as well. And it has been a lovely journey speaking to you for, I think, almost 4, 5 years now, and enriching, of course. And you always add a lot of value whenever we talk. So, thank you for that. And also, in your 20 years of experience till date now, Anurag, you have worked 14 years in corporates, and then you jumped into this whole entrepreneurship game, right? I would want to know what was it that made you move from, because a lot of your mentees and people who are watching this podcast would want to know what was that shift in mind that made you jump from being a corporate employee to entrepreneur. Please tell us about that.
So I had 3 years of articleship, around 14 and a half years in corporate as an employee. And then since 2.5 years running my own firm. I think the transition was necessitated by the fact that, how do I put it? So you can simply say that, okay, I was uh, job, they thought that, chalo bhai, tumse na ho payega types. So that could also be a thought. But yes, what I kind of thought was that in a typical corporate world, for specialized skills such as financial modeling and advanced level of analysis, etc., in an individual capacity, you might be an outperformer, but you tend to then kind of cross subsidize a larger cohort. And in an individual capacity, once you are running a firm, even if it is the so-called freelancer looked at very in a very different connotation in India, you tend to get full reward for whatever you've done, the bouquets as well as the brickbats. So in a larger corporate setting, I think that even the brickbats gets diffused because then the boss takes the blame and the boss's boss takes the blame. But then against that, the entire hierarchy also takes away the cake, different chunks of the cake, and at the end of the year, maybe uh, if the appraisal cycles are not on your side and you are like promotion नहीं हुआ पैसे नहीं बढ़े अरे पीछे रह गए so I thought let me jump on to entrepreneurship. At least I can blame myself instead of blaming the system, the blaming the boss कि boss ने मेरे लिए system में fight नहीं किया या boss बदमाश. So I think that blame game I've done a lot maybe and we all do that, right? कि अरे कंपनी ने बेल कप लगा दिया, बॉस अपना हो गया, मेरा नहीं हुआ, या बॉस का हो गया, या देखो उसका हो गया, मेरे कलीग का हो गया, वो ऑयलिंग करता है, मैं तो ऑयलिंग नहीं कर पाता हूँ, एक्सेट्रा. मैं एंड देन आई ऑल्सो had that locational disadvantage in job that I have chosen to build a career from the city of Calcutta. So that has its own challenge in terms of the demand supply. And you have also been from Calcutta. So you know how difficult it is. I mean, there are good number of jobs in Calcutta, but then the attrition there is very limited because once you settle at a very good CXO level, then generally don't leave, because of which there's a lot of demand supply mismatch. So yeah, those are the various triggers. And I think by the time I jumped onto CA Job, my own entrepreneurial venture, CA Job Portal had already found its feet because it's now like 10 years into the system. Me along with my wife Sonia, we've been running this. So as such, there was not a crisis on the existence front that what exactly will I do. But yeah, God has been kind. Even on the firm front, we have got some clientele now. And yeah, that's how the journey.
So it was a bad appraisal that was the trigger, if I can say so, because a lot of
No,
people are
it's
getting
not
triggered
a
now.
bad appraisal. I would say that, as you have identified in the course of my sessions also that I have done. So I have a need for validation or recognition more than that numerical number of CPC. And then when that does not come, and you feel kind of, yeah, I have slogged it out. So the kind of financial models, probably, for example, which I prepared in job, they were of a very different level. But then in an individual capacity, it is my work. And in a corporate setting, the company has done it, the department has done it, and you are kind of lost. And you are there for taking the blame. When it's a reference error or things go wrong, yeah, model Anurag ne banaya tha. But otherwise, it's the whole system who has done it. So yeah, I wanted to get rid of that blame allocation metrics and credit allocation metrics as they call.
Yeah, so about 14 and a half years of handling this pressure was, I think, enough finally for you to take that plunge into
Not the
entrepreneurship.
pressure. I will also say that when I took up my first job at Tata Steel, like you also had started, I didn't know financial modeling and this valuation stuff at all. And I actually wanted to get into corporate accounts. It was my boss who taught me the entire nitty gritties of this. He said, okay, I'm going to patiently invest in you for 6 months. So, I mean, that large exposure, those big settings, meetings with bank, credit rating agencies, etc., are also possible only in a large corporate setting. I mean, in individual capacity, then you end up being that one of those 100 valuers who just gets work. So, I think it's good for people to start off there,
Hmm.
but some you need to find your mojo and branch off. To my mind, that should be the good strategy.
Right. So you are also, advising a lot of people on career clarity. How does that start? I mean, because of course you have so many years of experience. How does this whole thing work of getting career clarity from a coach like you or a mentor like you?
It's very interesting. I mean, I recently did a mentoring session with a youngster. He said, I want to be a supply chain finance professional. I said, when you were born, your mother never told that she wants her son to be a supply chain finance professional. What is the end goal? It will be money, it will be a house of your own, it will be power, prestige. He said, yes. I said, then, therefore, please get over this fact that you are born for supply chain finance. I mean, that might be an intermediate passage to the end goal, but that is not the end goal. And that kind of gives a lot of clarity to people कि मैं कर क्यों रहा हूँ जो मैं कर रहा हूँ.
Why
I mean,
I'm
from
doing
that
what I'm doing.
हाँ, I mean पैसा चाहिए. And for like a lot of conversations that I also do with my mentors, for example, for me the trigger is not so much money as it is recognition or validation. Which again I need to work on that because it's very risky to depend on others for validation. But for me, the end goal is not a Europe trip or having a Mercedes car. I want impact. I want that, wow, sir, you taught well, you've done a good job, you helped us get a job or whatever. So yeah, that clarity has to come. And I think that clarity comes when you discuss it objectively with someone who looks at it from a very, very neutral, dispassionate perspective, like I do with you often.
Yeah, and I must say that this is the growth mindset that we keep talking about, right? That despite so many years of experience, despite doing so much, earning so much, you are still open to learning. And I think if we have this kind of mindset, Anurag, then you are actually eligible to be a mentor to someone else as well, because you are yourself like at ground zero all the time, ready to learn. So, I mean, you are continuously improving yourself, and then you are able to help someone else as well from that learnings for yourself. So, like, really hats off to you for being able to be that open minded to, work from ground up and working on yourself, introspecting, working out on your inner self. I mean, not many people are doing it, honestly. Not many people are doing it. So, congratulations on that, Anurag. Also, tell us a little about your TEDx talk that you have, because I have been fascinated by, TEDx, and I saw that, okay, you are also TEDx speaker. So first time when I spoke to you, I was like, okay, I'm speaking to a TEDx speaker today. So tell us about that.
TEDx talk, I think I've given two TEDx talks now. So one TEDx talk was around my decision to stay back in Calcutta and try to build a career here, and what went into in terms of the whole fear of missing out, because I had come to your city, Gurgaon, had got a 10 lakh 61,000 rupees job in October 2008. And then in a couple of months, I quit that and I came back to Calcutta at half the salary. Most people told me that I am a moron and I'm just, it's the end of my career, and which maybe they were right in a way. But my TEDx talk was about that whole decision around that transition, and then what I did maybe to make good whatever was the deficit in terms of money, in terms of recognition, validation. The other TEDx talk recently that I delivered in Bangalore was around the whole transition from the job world to a entrepreneurship world, where on a Monday morning you don't end up cursing your boss ki he's overloaded me with work, but rather you are worried that do I have enough work to give to my team members, and how do I really plan this whole week? So that is a complete shift of priorities in India, getting work done, getting it executed from team. Those are very difficult challenges. So I had spoken around that. जो इंडिया में टिपिकल होता है ना हिपोक्रेसी और दोगलापन अराउंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, आप बहुत एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को सेलिब्रेट करोगे इंडिया में, वाओ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, यस यस यस। देखिए एंटरप्रेन्योर आपको मेल करेगा ना, ईमेल फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ मार्केटिंग, आप उसको स्पैम मार्क कर देंगे, जैसे लगो कि आप बहुत बड़े एकदम चौधरी हो, एंड आपका अटेंशन कैसे कोई एक वोनाबी एंटरप्रेन्योर खा गया, तो आप बोलोगे मार्क है स्पैम। तो ये है हमारा रियलिटी vis-a-vis the larger jingoism around entrepreneurship that we will tell on social media. So I spoke around that.
I think you speak about
And
a lot of pain points people are, facing, and that is why you have so much engagement from people, because they are actually resonating with you that, okay, I'm also going through that.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So going through that is okay, Anurag, but tell us, how do you manage yourself with, so much of work? You have a family also, right? And there is just so much to manage. Two different businesses you're associated with. How do you manage your own self? How do you take care of your own wellness?
I think I have not lived up to the expectations there on that front. So taking care of my own self, yeah, but right now when the self eventually retaliated in form of manifestation of a lot of diseases like respiratory issues and thyroid and all. So now I kind of, let's say, spend 2 hours a day on yoga and walking, etc., do meditation. I have taken a point now to spend time with the kids. So this Monday, I went to Nico Park the whole day,
Wow.
doing
Yeah, my
rides
childhood
and doing.
memories from Nico Park are like really, really cute.
Yes, yes. But Nitu, I did it on a Monday. Okay, so most people will say काम धाम नहीं है क्या? हाँ नहीं है काम धाम, because my niece
Sweet.
had come from Bombay, so I did that on a Monday. So yeah, I've been learning to do that because as you will also realize, there's no real upper circuit to how much work you can do or what you want to acquire, but somewhere you have to draw the line. And something which I am also learning from you, that you do not pick up every phone call at that very moment.
Hmm.
You can have say, okay, I will give you a call back when I am free. And I have a calendar for the day. You can't just barge into my calendar. So those are little ways of manifesting that, okay, I value myself, take care of myself. So that helps.
Wow. And people look up to you, Sanurag. I mean, there's so many people who looks up to you. If you are taking care of your wellness and you're talking about it, I'm sure the message goes out widely that, even, Anurag has been through, moments of lows, and he is taking care of himself now. He is taking care of his wellness. So if you are talking about this, I'm sure a lot of people get inspired about taking care of their wellness. So this is actually the whole idea of this podcast, that we could inspire people about thinking about themselves, thinking about why it is important. Because if you are well, you take good care of everybody around you, and everybody gets, like, lifted. uh, with your energy. So yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that you have started taking care of your wellness, because as finance professionals, we are not trained to do that. We are always supposed to be serving the client or the company,
But
right?
you know what happens is that then let's say you have internal bitterness around certain things that gets manifested in your interaction with others. So consciously, unconsciously, the vibes that you give will carry that in fact, that is why, I've been working with you also on trying to work around that pent up emotions which have. So now the doctor tells me, so there's an allopathic doctor who tells that you have thyroid issues. So लो बेटा thyroxine और पूरी जिंदगी खाना है. So that's called management of your disease. So there is no cure.
It's not a
And
cure.
here's my yoga teacher who says ये आपका जो चक्र है ये आपका सप्रेस्ड फीलिंग्स है, आपका रिस्पेक्ट का नीड है जो आपको नहीं मिल रहा है, वैलिडेशन नहीं मिल रहा है, उसके वजह से यहाँ पे ये पूरा ब्लॉकेज है, आपका चक्र ब्लॉक्ड है. And I feel that the latter part is actually important. That those feelings which have been maybe suppressed or not been able to manifest the way they wanted, that is actually the cure, not thyroxine.
Yes, yes. And you are actually working on it, and it's totally reversible. Thyroid is totally reversible because I have been able to reverse it for myself. So anybody and everybody can do that, but if you have to be open to the idea, because the doctors shut down the idea saying that, okay, I shouldn't be saying so much about the doctors saying that. Maybe they have studied that
So
so
we have
deeply, and that
enough
is why they
knowledge
can say.
in case of breathing issues. I went to the best pulmonologist in Calcutta. He said, boss, you have got mild to severe asthma. So here is this puff. ऐसे करके सुबह लो, दोनों शाम को लो, और हमेशा अपने साथ रखना कि कहीं मुझे कुछ हो जाए तो ये पफ मेरे साथ रहना चाहिए कि यही मेरी जिंदगी बचाएगा. That was September. And I then went to my yoga teacher and told कि can I do something about it because I just don't want these puffs. And also to my homeopathic doctor who actually works at the element level. Believe you me, I have been in Delhi in that nightmarish of a situation pre-Diwali where you have the whole smog in the air, but I was able to survive without puffs. Uh, so, working on those feelings, working on the physical aspect, for example, the chest, it over the years, the posture has become like this constricted. Instead of that, the chest should be like this, like a king when the king sits. So those are the things which I think my yoga teacher has taught me a lot, which I am trying to work on. But yeah, I realize that वो सत्य है. जो inhaler है और thyroxine है और whatever it is,
This is
वो
all
सत्य नहीं है.
management.
मतलब वो एक
This is all management of symptoms.
मैनेजमेंट
It's
है और
not
मतलब वो रोज
curing.
आपको दिखाएगा तो बीमार हो तुम.
Hmm. Hmm. So this realization
तुम
is
ये
also
दवाई.
very important, Anurag. If people like you and me, we have come to this realization, it is our responsibility and duty also to spread this word that we do not need to manage our symptoms. We can actually cure them, and we can live a more happy, healthy, abundant life.
And you can then, as we discussed that day, achieve the purpose of your life. The purpose of your life may not necessarily just be to acquire materialistic wealth. The impact that your life or your words can create on others.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
That can.
it is our responsibility and duty to talk about these things so that we can actually reach out to those people who are looking for hope. And if with so many years of experience, so many years of going through the hustle, doing the things that we do, the kind of experiences we get through and the kind of learnings we have, it is our duty to pass it on to our next generation, to pass it on to people who are looking up to us for inspiration, for hope. So that is why this whole podcast exists, right? So that we can spread out that message. You also have one podcast that you talk about at, and it's not just about entrepreneurship or profession, it's about anything and everything that people can learn from uh, us who have been through those experiences, right?
That is very critical. We've been students who said, sir, मैंने आपका वीडियो देखा था shifting to commerce from science after class 12. 5 years later, now I'm a chartered accountant. आप बताइए क्या करना है. So there you feel that wow. So yesterday we placed a youngster. His sister also we had placed 3 years ago. Then when this guy became a chartered accountant, we placed him also. It is like we've become a family consultant, like a doctor. So if you go to the house, you get all the mangoes and the grapes and everything. कि भाई अरे अनुराग सर आए हैं, अनुराग सर ने इसका भी प्लेसमेंट करा है, इसका भी प्लेसमेंट करा है, अभी छोटू भी बन रहा है, इसका भी कराएंगे। तो
Yes, so being that guide, being that mentor, being that someone who is a support system to a family, why not? Why not? And you are doing it so well with your endeavors, your efforts. That I think we need more of people like you who are doing that kind of work. I mean, people are struggling with the right jobs, with the right career clarity. If you can come in at that place and fill that gap, I mean, nothing like it. Right. So, Anurag, tell me one thing with all your experiences over so many years, what is that one piece of knowledge that you would want to share with the audience today that would give them some kind of, uh, you know, hope, insight, or something that would make their life better? What is that one thing that you would like to share?
I think my entire life I have been trapped by this whole human tendency to compare your journey with someone else's on a totality basis, not understanding the individual nuances. So I think one learning which I have got is that your journey, as it in Bhagavad Gita, it will be called as your prarabdha or your sanchit karma, which have been accumulated in the past, and those are a lot of things that you get are very naturally coming to you, and a lot of things you struggle, but they don't come to you. So I think one critical learning for me has been to help people understand that their journey will be very unique for various reasons. So someone will say, okay, he succeeded more than me. I said, fine, but he lost his father at the age of 4. Would you like that? No. I said, then in totality, you need to look at it, right? You're just looking at one aspect of the whole story that he has got success, but what about that other part? Would you want to exchange shoes with that? He said, no. से तो अपनी जर्नी को समझो कि हाँ ये मेरा प्रारब्ध है जो मुझे मिला है ये मेरे संचित कर्म है एंड आई वांट टू कीप वर्किंग टू अक्यूमुलेट बेटर कर्म एंड आई थिंक दैट शुड बी माय वन लर्निंग ये आपको जनरली यूट्यूब पे नहीं मिलेगा मतलब लोग फंडे देंगे अलग अलग टाइप्स के बट ये रियलिटी है एंड गिवन आई हैव आल्सो अचीव सम लेवल ऑफ so called success I can tell you that some things came very naturally to me when I didn't even work very hard for them. And I actually aspired for a lot of things. They didn't come to me. तो वो है वो कुछ ना कुछ आपका है कहानी बैकएंड में चलता है एल्गोरिदम भी.
Yes, I think that's very profound. And anybody who's watching this, please take this piece of advice that every journey is different. Don't compare yours to anyone else in this world. You are unique, your journey is unique, and your experiences are unique. Make the best out of it. Right. With that, we bring this to a close. Thank you, Anurag, so much for coming and sharing your insight with us. I hope there's a lot to learn from this podcast to people who are watching, and we hope that it add value to their life. Thank you so much, Anurag.